I'm so excited this morning to be able to expand our conversation related to the Silent Thunder Order affiliates and their affiliate leaders. So, when I first came to Atlanta Soto Zen Center, I just saw this little piece of what the overarching Silent Thunder Order was really about. I mean, I just got, started asking questions, and then I was like, oh, there are other people, there are other sanghas, there are other influences and teachers. So I got excited to learn that, and then started bugging Sensei about getting involved in how we can get to learn who people are. So um, Cosette's needed a person on the communications committee, so we started partnering, and then we created the Zen Geek Squad. So we actually got to build an STO website, and what a pleasure that was, because as part of that, it allows us to be able to really get to know who the sanghas are, get to know who the teachers are, interact with the sangha, and that was a pleasure. So it's my pleasure this morning to be able to lead that discussion with the affiliates, the affiliate leaders, the practice leaders, and to learn a little bit about who the Silent Thunder Order affiliates are. So again, get settled. Hopefully, by the time we have this conversation, you'll get to learn and to love your fellow Sangha, Dharma brothers and sisters, and see what other our practice opportunities there are available within our community. So we're going to start shortly here. Let me do a share screen. Let me drag this over so ASCC folks can see this as well. Bear with me, folks. There we go. Okay. All righty. The first up, we have Bellevue Dharma Center in Bellevue, Washington, and Katsuryu Bill Cooper is the practice leader. So I'm going to shift the virtual ball over to Katsuryu. Please welcome Bill Cooper from the Bellevue, Washington Dharma Center.
Thank you. Thank you, Fusats and Kosetsu, the tech Enos. I'm very happy and grateful to be affiliated with STO and to be the newest center joining this group. I'm very grateful to Hojo and STO and Zenku Sensei. To go back to the beginning of our group, I'm going to quickly go back to the beginning of my Buddhist practice. I met Matsuoka Roshi in March 1981. He was my first Buddhist teacher. There was a listing for him in the back for the Zen Center, the Long Beach Zen Temple, in the back of a book by Ram Dass. That's how I found him. And I was very enthusiastic about Zen practice. I took Jukai discipleship and a few years later ordained as a priest. In about 1989, I began practicing with other Zen centers. Our current Sangha here in Bellevue meets in our home, my wife Ellen and myself. We began sitting together in January 2013 as a group primarily interested in early Buddhism. We were reading Pali texts and practicing with a group. We would meet twice a month, do some sitting and some discussion, sometimes some reading. And a couple of people who began with me are still with us. Sharon, Dennis, my wife are still sitting. And then we've had other members since I began posting more as a Zen group. We've had other members join us in the last year. So we're roughly 7 or 8 people And we've become good friends over the years. And it was particularly poignant through 2020. It was just really wonderful to be able to meet online together and get through the pandemic and all the other issues. I first met Hojo in the spring of 2020. I had called him to discuss a matter. Of course, I'd heard a lot about him from Matsuoka. And Hojo, in the course of our conversation of talking about the Dharma and Matsuoka and where I was at, encouraged me to consider training here. And after consulting with my wife, who's my lifelong partner in Buddhism, I accepted the information. I accepted the invitation. And I've also received guidance and teaching from Zenku Sensei and others. I attend the Dharma Cloud study group on Tuesday nights, which has been wonderful. I am frequently at the Sunday Atlanta services and Tuesday mornings with Zenku Sensei as well. The change in orientation in myself and to the group from Theravada to Zen has had its challenges. People are in varying degrees of transition there. And so what I'm trying to do is focus more on the practice of Buddhist meditation and less on doctrinal or readings, which have been difficult for our members, Zen readings. I thought it would be fun to kind of introduce them and explain them, but they're less enthusiastic. So we'll just go back to sitting, which everybody loves. Our goals for the upcoming year and so forth are, because most members are new to Zen, to continue to teach, learn, and practice Zazen together. We have a really fairly, wonderful Sangha, but I'm looking to find a balance and integrate the various ideas and that people have about Buddhism. I'm also encouraging people, I've encouraged people to attend this conference, to attend other STO events. I'm trying to also encourage them to attend some of the longer sittings. We have some here too, but they're pretty short. But Zenku Sensei and Mission Mountain I've attended several of those and would like to offer them to our Sangha here as well. And also, in terms of future goals and so forth, I'm having some visiting teachers trying to set up a time for Hojo. Zenku has met our group and was very well received. Sangaku Sensei is going to be speaking this Wednesday, and I'm trying to get Kuwa-san scheduled in as well. So that's about it. I have a few pictures to show, and you'll run them. The middle one was our Zendo and is now back to a living room. But this is where we sat, and that's my altar there on the left. Next group. There's my wife on the left getting ready to sit Zazen, and Dennis, who's been a long-term member, good guy, very technically oriented. I think he would really enjoy, many of the members in this group, since there's a large technical engineering contingent. And this is a picture I took of Matsuoka sometime in the late 80s. I want to tell a little story before we show the next. This will be very quick, but I had a blank scroll that I wanted to show Sensei and asked him to do a calligraphy on it. And this is what he gave me a few days later. I can show that scroll. So I'm showing this to you because of all the scrolls he could have done for a student, this is the one he passed on. And from top to bottom, it reads Shujo Honrai Hotoke. All beings from the beginning are enlightenment. All beings, and Sensei explained it about 3 or 4 ways to me. As all beings from the beginning are Buddhas, were the 2 that I remember. All beings from the beginning are enlightenment or enlightened. All beings are Buddhas. So I just, this has meant a lot to me over the years, and it's such a basic teaching from Dogen primarily. So I thank you all for inviting me to the Sangha and being part of it. That's all.
Gasho, thank you so much, Ketchiyu and the Bellevue Dharma Center. We're so grateful to have you as a part of our Sangha, and we look forward to continuing to offer and be in practice with you in your community. Gasho Katsuru.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Falmouth Soto Zen Sangha with Sensei Sengaku as the guiding teacher and Mokyo Nancy Sherwood as the practice leader. So I'm going to hand the baton over to Falmouth and their Sangha.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Fasatsu. It's just before we started, I was looking at everybody on the screen, and you know, being able to have these retreats and sit with all these people that I'm getting to know feels like I'm sitting in my own Zendo, you know, the Falmouth Zendo. It's that same feeling of love and connection that I have. So we are the Falmouth Soto Zen Sangha. Our location is Falmouth, Massachusetts, which is on Cape Cod, and Cape Cod happens to be a peninsula that goes out into the Atlantic Ocean, in case you don't know. So we are surrounded by water on 3 sides. Our guiding teacher and transmitted priest is Sangak Danjasalan, Unshin Sangak Danjasalan. I am the guiding teacher, Mokyo Nancy Sherwood. I became guiding teacher last year. And so our Sangha was founded by Sensei Sangak in 2010 when he was still, when he was a senior disciple from Hojo Michael Elliston. He was living in, he had been living in Atlanta, and he and his wife Susan decided to retire in Falmouth, which we are so blessed to have that have happened. And so in 2010, he started our Sangha. In 2014, Sensei Sangak became a novice priest, and in 2020, he became a fully transmitted priest by Hojo Michael Elliston. We have, I don't know if we have these t-shirts to commemorate the occasion. It says FSZS 2020, and his favorite saying, one of his favorite sayings is bittersweet. I don't know if you can see it. I'm modeling it there. We were all very excited when this event happened. We have an active membership of students. We are a teaching Sangha, and we have an active membership of about maybe 10 people. But we have people that come and go, especially in the summertime, because it is a resort area. We have students who have taken Jukai and who have taken Zaikai. Our practice path guidelines offers Jukai, Zaikai, Shukai, Ango, Shuso, and Shio. We are an active teaching community service Sangha. We meet every Tuesday night for service from 7 until 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're currently on Zoom. We used to meet at the Unitarian Universalist Church every Tuesday. That was pre-COVID, and we will see what we're going to do soon, post-COVID. We also meet every morning at 6:30 to 7:30. We have a 30-minute sit, and we have a 30-minute Dharma discussion, usually led by Sensei. Pre-COVID, we sat 6:30. There's our pictures. I just saw them. 3:30. Pre-COVID, we sat at 6:30 every Tuesday morning on the beach. As you can see, Sensei is sitting there all by himself. Well, no, with all the Buddhas. And we probably will be talking about resuming that soon. Let's see what else we have. So every Tuesday we have, in our service, we have Dharma talks on various topics. We have guest speakers. We have book study, and we have book reviews. We have Dokusan upon request, Zazenkai every 3 months, and Sesshin when available. We offer meditation and drug and alcohol meditation to drug and alcohol recovery houses. That was pre-COVID, and to the senior citizens, which was also pre-COVID. We celebrate Hanamasuri and Rohatsu. We have birth recognition, wedding ceremonies, renewal of wedding vows, and memorial services upon request. Our Sangha is currently heading a research project of the women ancestors of Soto Zen, and there are women from different Sanghas or affiliates that are working with us. And the goal is to have a teaching tool when we are finished to provide for us and others so we can all learn about our women ancestors. That has become very important. We promote a supportive environment within the Sangha to reduce suffering for ourselves and others. And I'd like to talk about some of the pictures. So the little baby, we had a birth recognition ceremony. We've nicknamed that little boy C4. Chuck Hokashi, who is one of our Sangha members, it is his grandson, and he is Chuck the Fourth. The middle picture is a picture of a Jukai picture of Ikosei, myself, and Junko Mary Lou. Junko Mary Lou studied Zazen for many, many years. She started in California. And when Sensei started our Sangha here and she found out about it, she joined us and she took another Jukai with us. She's a very important person to us. She showed us she was a shining example of Buddhism and Zazen. She loved Zazen. She loved the Dharma. She always, her joy, enthusiasm for life, and her compassion was an example to us. Sensei and I got to do a ceremony for her in her home, and we had a ceremony for her in our Sangha. The other picture is Okashi's Jukai in my Zaikai during the pandemic. Are there any other pictures there? Okay, there we go. So picture on the left is Falmouth in the wintertime, and the picture on the right is one of our ceremonies. Actually, that's one of the ones, anyway, that was our Jukai ceremony. Do we have any other pictures? Nope, we're done. So if you have any questions, please let us know. All are welcome. We enjoy having visitors to our events, and we welcome you. Gasho.
Gasho. Mokyo and the Falmouth Sangha, thank you so much. Again, during the pandemic, I found this wonderful Sangha online. One of the things we did was reach out to a lot of our brown robes and say, hey, you know, we need practice opportunities. And Sensei Sengaku, Sensei Zenku, Hojo Sensei, and a lot of other teachers just stepped up and said, hey, you can join us for practice opportunities. So again, a perfect example of being able to connect with a broader and Sangha. So Mokyo and Sensei Sengak, thank you so much for sharing Gasho, and we're so happy to have you within our Sangha.
I just want to add, I get nervous when I speak, but I just want to add that the morning sits has transformed our Sangha. You know, pre-COVID, we would meet once a week, meeting every day and having Dharma talks every day with each other has made an immense difference. So, Gasho.
Gasho. Awesome. And up next, we have Great Cloud Sangha out of Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Soto Zen Sangha, and that's currently led by Ungan Bill Mayhew. And again, Ungan, you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Take it away.
Okay, hold on. I'll do some little personal information first. I went to Davidson College, then I was Lieutenant Bill in the 7th Infantry Division. Spent the next 30 years in the business world. Got lucky and retired at age 55. I'll be doing my 3rd Ongo in July. And a little side note, I actually teach a course at the University of North Florida in the OLLI program, not a regular course about Zen Buddhism. And that's worked real well in attracting several members to our group. Excuse me. I started my original practice with Edo Roshi at Daibazatsu Zendo, Rinzai type Zen. And moved to North Carolina Zen Center with Sandy Stewart, another Rinzai place. So if anybody wants to talk about koans, I'm available. I'm had about 18 years of Rinzai stuff. Then I ran into, where is he? Roger Cochran down in Jacksonville at the Unitarian Church, Sugetsu. And met Ellison Roshi and changed my affiliation to Soto Zen, and I'm so happy I've done that. I'm sitting with a group at the Unitarian Church that was led by Dr. Cochran, Sogetsu, and he started that program in, I believe, 2013, he and his wife, Dorothy Merrill. Yeah, there's Roger. I didn't know you had these pictures. Good, yeah, there's Roger on the left. You may hear from me. Anyway, things are going pretty good. And then Roger packed up and moved back to Atlanta, just left us. He not only left us, he took all our Zabatons, he took our Zapus, he took all of our statuary stuff and just left and dumped the whole thing on me. You think I'm kidding. Roger and I are still very close friends, I believe. That was about 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. Since then, we've, our programs, we have a Saturday afternoon program, so I won't be with you this afternoon. 12:30, we have a discussion group for any folks that have problems. This one hasn't worked too well. the program. We're thinking about changing it to a newcomers program. Then from 1:30 to 3, we have open sitting. Monday nights is our regular program, 7 to 8 o'clock. Of course, it's all on Zoom now. We have a program, and then from 8 to 8:45 or 9, we have a presentation and a discussion group. First Monday night, we have an invite a speaker from somewhere. And we'll probably be calling on some of you folks sometimes to help us out as a speaker. We had Brian Price last Monday night. Second Monday night is Hojo Online. We have that. Third Monday night is I give a presentation, and then the fourth Monday night's open discussion for everybody. We've got about 15 core members that come regularly, another 15 that may or may not show up intermittently. We've had more success using Meetup, the course I teach, and then some referrals, individual referrals. Those are the things that we found that have worked the best. We are on Facebook. We have a website. So if anybody has any more interest, that's a picture of the inside of the place where we sit at the church. Got a very, very broad range of people, old people, young people, well-educated people, some not so well-educated, business people. Anyway, it's a very interesting group to sit with. Yeah, that was a picture of a couple years back. You can see Roger, and that's his wife with a big smile on her face, Dorothy. I won't try to introduce you to the rest of them, but anyway, some nice folks there. That's about all I've got to say. If anybody has any questions or follow up, feel free to chat me or get in touch with me, whatever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ungan. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Ungan's nickname is Southern Comfort. So I just love when Ungan talks. He just makes me smile. So, and he'll be back with us in July. So Getsu will be back. We'll be here in June. So we have a amount of really Angos coming up. So we are going to definitely take benefit of our priests and Ango while they're here. So definitely you heard Ungan talking about that he will be reaching out. So that's a part of why we wanted to do the introductions as well, so that, again, we know who we are and we could actually feel comfortable reaching out and servicing and providing service for our Sanghas. Up next, this is no stranger to anyone. This is actually now Zen Kushin out in Montana. So I'm going to hand the virtual ball over to Sensei Zenku and Kushin.
Thank you so much. I'm Kushin Jim Parker. I'm the vice chair currently of the STO Board of Directors, and I'm also chairing the Archives Committee working on the Matsuro Kuroshi documentary. We can't offer Southern comfort, but we will offer some Northern exposure for you folks and give you a slightly different feel. I'm speaking on behalf of my teacher, our practice leader and founder of Mission Mountain Zen Sangha, Zenku Jerry Smyers, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to Northwestern Montana. Zenku Sensei has been practicing meditation since the 60s. And in the early 70s, he began sitting with the Zen Center of Chicago, which was founded by Matsuro Kuroshi, and began certainly a relationship with our founding teacher, as well as his own teacher, Kongo Roshi, in Chicago. And he spent many years there. Finally, when he retired around 2005, he moved up to Montana with his wife, and one of his child followed him and have a family here as well. His other daughter lives still with their family in Chicago. I'll tell you a little bit about the origination story of Mission Mountain Sangha. In 2007, Zenku, as a novice priest, began offering group meditation at one of the early participants' homes in Polson, Montana, a little further south from here. And in 2012, Zenko received transmission from Tayun Elliston Roshi. I bumped into Jerry Smyers, soon to become Zenku Jerry Smyers, to me in 2014 and began attending the Mission Mountain Zen Sangha and have been delighted to continue that since then. Over time, Mission Mountain Zendo or Zen Center moved to Zenku's home Zendo for a while, where we are today, and then back to Polson at Yoga Heart Studio, always seeking to try to find how can we create an opportunity to attract more people to Zen meditation. Now, if you know Montana at all, you know that the whole state, the fourth largest in the nation, has barely over 1 million people in the entire state. So up here in Dayton, Montana, and this is a picture from the Zendo looking out over the lake, and this is the Flathead Lake, which is the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous background for us, and sometimes distracts us just slightly from our meditation, but in a very good way. So the largest cities close to here are either Missoula to the south or Kalispell to the north. Both are about an hour or more away. So, you know, again, attracting large numbers of people is a trick. And we've been successful keeping a solid core group. And with Zoom and COVID-19, we've actually been able to expand our reach to attract many others to join us. This shows the altar here in the home Zendo and one of the past ceremonies that we participated in. Since COVID-19, we're offering Zoom gatherings hosted via Zenku's Zendo on Zoom, of course. And we're currently discussing ways to open up and get together physically and how and when we'll do so. What we do here is varied and continues to expand under Zenku's guidance. Always, he's looking for ways to encourage people to taste the essence of Zen meditation and then continue with them in whatever way they need support and backup throughout their practice periods. We have weekly morning services every Tuesday morning now at 7 a.m. Mountain Time via Zoom. And again, have people coming in from various time zones, not unlike today. And this practice we're having together these 4 days. We have 2 periods of 30 minutes Zen on these Tuesday mornings with Kinhin. And then we do morning service chanting. Again, much like we did today, Repentance and Refuges, Heart Sutra, and then a feature chant. And then we'll have a brief check-in. Every Wednesday evening, we host another Zoom or in-person meditation session. We do 2 periods of 25-minute Zazen with Kinhin. We chant the Metta Sutra, and we sit and talk to each other and check in, see how we're doing, talk about our practice, and usually end with a shorter but complete Dharma talk and discussion. You know, and particularly Wednesdays, we invite newcomers to come if they'd like, and to get an introduction into Zen practice. And of course, Zenko Sensei is so warming to anyone that participates at whatever level they'd like, wherever they happen to be along the path, whether beginning or a well-seasoned practitioner. Again, in non-COVID times and even in COVID times, we celebrate many of the Buddhist holidays throughout the calendar year with a special service. And when we can meet in person, that special service after a lovely Dharma talk always ends with a community potluck dinner at Zinku and Teresa, his wife's house, and they provide quite an opportunity for just a lovely community gathering and discussion afterwards. We have monthly Saturday Zazenkai retreats, one-day retreats, which we've started to institute over the past few years, and find that it's a really great introduction for folks into a longer period of sitting without going into the full 4 or 5 or 6 day retreats right off the bat. And we've had a lot of support with that and participation. Again, as we've started Zoom, we probably will make it a hybrid as we reopen, continue the Zoom offerings as well as the in-person in the Zendo. We have twice annually, we have 4 or 5 day sashins here at Zinku Sensei's home. And it's, again, a lovely time to go much deeper into our practice. Often some of Zenku's students that don't live in Montana will come for these retreats and join us and add such lovely clarity to our discussions and the meaningfulness of gathering together as a Sangha. The picture on the left is Jisho's Jukai ceremony that was held last year. As you can see, we did it before he left for Indiana, and we were masked up, and it was just the 3 of us, but it was a lovely, lovely ceremony, even though we were just beginning to understand the profound nature of COVID, and may have been one of our last gatherings safely behind masks, but realizing that that might not be possible very much longer until things change. Like I say, we have some upcoming events where we hope to really reopen, as it were, with vaccinated people attending. In July, we hope to have, and it looks like we will be having at least a 3-day meditation retreat where we'll be offering Jukai to some of the members that are participating with all of us on this retreat, and Zaikai discipleship ceremonies for others in the Sangha. We have some more photos we'd like to share with you. You will see that often. Again, we have ceremonies showing on the left, flowers, flowers, and more flowers on some of our favorite holidays, around our statuettes on the altar. And Zinku and we attract more than just humans into our Zendo. And we have, and you will hear often, Socks speaking and chanting with us in his own way, of course. But he is deeply welcome and is a regular participant as well. I think that will give it enough for now, but it's an honor for me to speak on behalf of my teacher and dear friend, Zinku Sensei. And also, it's been a delight. We've been in the bubble together this whole time, both being very careful within our small circles, but it's afforded an opportunity for me to deepen my practice with my teacher, and a delight to have an intimacy within this COVID bubble to continue the practice of meditation and Zen practice. So again, I'm deeply grateful for all of us that show up and sit together. We gain from each other so much. This retreat is a shining example of the depth and clarity of the approach that our Sangha members take, the compassionate embrace that we share with one another. And one can't help but to grow deeper into our time together as a result. So Gasho very much.
Gasho, Zenkushin, love that interdependence there. And then we will take some Northern exposure. We love that and appreciate that too. So thank you so much. He flew back to Atlanta from Jacksonville. So Without further ado, so get to Roger Cochran to speak about South Atlanta Zen Sangha.
Thank you very much. We are located on the southern edge of Atlanta and just above the start of the Nat line, which is where we have the fall line for the state of Georgia, where the ocean used to be. As Ungun has said, when Dorothy and I moved from Atlanta to Jacksonville, it became apparent that sitting in our bedroom on Sunday mornings or whenever we could was not quite what we wanted to do. And so we were fortunate in being able to make a connection with the Unitarian Church there, which allowed us to set up a practice in Jacksonville. And about 4 years ago, we wound up having to move from Jacksonville back to South Atlanta. And in South Atlanta, we have a huge variety of Baptists, Methodists, and occasional Episcopalian. And I thought I would see whether or not there might be an interest in a Buddhist practice, Soto Zen specifically. And to do that, I did what had been very successful in Jacksonville, which was to establish a meetup group. From that, we were able to start the Jacksonville group. The meetup group here in South Atlanta currently has, I guess, about 130 people who are registered on it. Of that 130, perhaps 4 in 3 years have shown up. So the demand being met through meetup is not great. However, the people who have come have been very important for us. And as I was talking with Hojo about establishing a sitting group in South Atlanta, he connected me with David Toon Rugen, who is a traditional Chinese medicine doctor and acupuncturist and a lawyer and former Mormon. So he offered us the use of his waiting room in his acupuncture studio located between Peachtree City and Fayetteville on the southern edge of Atlanta. And so we began holding sittings there. I'm going to talk through some of these pictures just to, I guess, give you a sense of what it's like to sit in an acupuncturist's office. On the left here, yes, this shows, we've got an altar that we set up on the waiting desk, or the waiting room desk. It's an altar that means a lot to me because on the left here, you see where we hold our incense. That's from my father-in-law's meditation desk and the pebbles that were in his Zen garden. We have a Manjusri here and a Kuan Yin here, but the center, the Buddha is a gift to me when we were in Jacksonville from a Bangladeshi refugee. He and his wife had been chased out of Bangladesh by Islamic radicals who did not like his posts online advocating for a religious freedom in Bangladesh. So when they came here, we made contact with them, Dorothy and I, and they became good friends. And as part of their gift to us one Christmas, they gave us this statue of Buddha, which is an authentic hallmark statue. But it means a lot on a personal level to have that. It's a reminder of how deeply connected we can become to participants in our Buddhist practice. The picture on the right shows how we were sitting up for our meditations prior to COVID. We'd take all the waiting room chairs out, set up zafus and zabutons, and we're able to seat as many as 6 people in zafus and zabutons and 2 in chairs. On one occasion in 4 years have we been filled up. It tends to be a rather small group. Currently, only a regular group of 3 people come and meditate each Sunday morning. Could we go to the next slide? Yes. This is what our Zendo looks like after we set it up. And you can see that we have, in this picture, we have 5, actually 6 sitting areas, 2 chairs on either side. And then we're able to put people in the hallway coming in. And on occasion, we have the opportunity to do that. The next picture to the right shows the entrance to our Zendo, which is actually the entrance to the acupuncture studio. We set it up. Let's see. We set it up so that we have a little sign out front that welcomes people to the South Atlanta Zen Sangha. And at the very bottom, it says, all who come are welcome, those who leave are not pursued. Those of you who have been to the McLendon Avenue Zendo, when the Atlanta Soto Zen Center was in the area called Little 5 Points, you'll recall that the bottom of that Atlanta Zendo sign was a little saying that said, all who come are welcome, those who leave are not pursued. That was actually what drew me in to meet Hojo, because I thought if anyone or any organization has the ability to be that comfortable with people coming and going, then I'll stick my head in. And that was probably about 1980, 85, thereabouts. And I've been hanging around Hojo ever since. These 2 pictures show something of how we tried to deal with COVID, because last year we didn't know how to deal with it on meetings in the studio. We decided that we would not hold anything inside the acupuncture studio, and we moved to 2 locations. One is we set up an opportunity for people to do an online meditation. And the other was that in the community we live in, we were able to find an oak tree looking over a lake. And during the warmer days of the summer and spring and summer, we were able to set up and hold meditation under the tree. This looks out over a lake. Unlike looking at a wall, this is a very different kind of experience. It's an opportunity to be in nature. It's an opportunity to see how things are really interconnected in many ways. And from here, looking back over the lake, you can see the beehives. And so you can see all that it takes to make nature real. On the right is Dorothy Merrick, my wife, who is a trained yoga instructor, having spent time at a yoga ashram. She and I both went through Shin Buddhist training under the Bright Dawn teachings. Her family had become Buddhists and had been taught by Reverend Gyomi Kubosi. And I met Dorothy when I was giving a talk on Buddhism in a Unitarian church. And at the very end, she stood up and said, after I had gone through some illustrations of clothing and practices, she stood up and she said, "My father's a Buddhist and he doesn't do any of this stuff," which was an immediate attraction. So we have now been practicing together for over 30 years. So what else have we got? Anything else? Oh. So I want to just say that with COVID, we've had to change a lot of what we do. We offered online meditation, which has actually not been successful. We have 138 people registered online, none of whom have actually sat with us. Well, I take that back. 2 people have sat with us online. We have been able to have one person join, become a full-fledged Buddhist. This was Dan Westbrook, who Hojo came down and initiated with Jukai back last summer. David Toon, the person whose studio we use, is a disciple of Hojo's, Rugen. So we have 3 active participants in our Zendo in South Atlanta. And we set up and hold meditation in the waiting room now. We've become satisfied that because this is a medical office, it's got HEPA air filtration throughout, and Rugen assures us that it's safe to bring people in as long as they're masked, and we sit 6 to 8 feet apart. So we have a sitting area which allows us to have 4 people in the Zendo at one time. Let's see if there's briefly, then that's us in South Atlanta. We are open every weekend. We occasionally get people from we got some folks who came and visited us from the last session that was held in December. Turned out this was a person who had previously sat on McClendon Avenue. And so he comes and sits with us on occasion. So what else could I say? We are open, we're going to remain open, and we have an open invitation to any of you who would like to come. Please give us a head up if you're able to come so that we can make sure that you understand our protocols for sitting during COVID in an enclosed space. And I do want to say finally that Ungun has made a tremendous opportunity available in Jacksonville. He's grown the Zendo. He's got a group that I think is now twice the size that it was when I left. That may be saying something about what happens when I leave places. You get a spurt of growth Ungun. But Ungun came and joined with us earlier, and he was an integral part for the success of this, of the Jacksonville Zendo. And it was his encouragement that led me to think, well, we can try this again in South Atlanta, and we're going to be there. We're here, but we're small. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Segetsu, thank you so much. Small and mighty. Again, Buddha seed. Again, you seeding different sanghas and then leading and seeding another. And so thank you so much for your contributions. And we're always going to let us know again how we can continue to support you as well. Gasho.
Gasho.
All right. Last but not least, again, thank goodness for these two gentlemen who continue to hold the space for us and who seeded the Silent Thunder Order. So let's talk a little bit about where it all started. And I'm going to attempt to switch cameras. Bear with me 1 second so I can get you over to Hojo Sensei and to Sensei Shinjin, who are, again, our abbot and our founding a founder for ASZC and also the practice leader for ASZC. So bear with me here, and I'm just gonna move and switch cameras, and we'll get it kicked off here. There we are, switched over. And Sensei, I just want to get it a little bit closer so you can kind of see, and let me cut.
Get both of us in the same.
Yep.
Frame.
I can. There you go, Sensei.
Good. Well, welcome. Happy to be here. Happy to be anywhere.
I think we need to boost Sensei's microphone.
There you go. Speak, Sensei.
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Much better, much better.
Okay. So I just want to make a few remarks and then turn the more detailed recap of Atlanta Soto Zen Center over to Shinjin Mike Goldman. Put Mike on the spot. Give him a few minutes to go back through the history. He's been here nearly since the beginning. We started sitting, actually, 1974. I moved to Atlanta in 1970. Around 1974, when I left Chicago, by the way, the guys, Congo and the others said, but Southerners don't do Zen. I said, well, that's the point, you know. So we came here and established the Southern School. So we're in good company with Wei Nung. I don't know how sudden it is. It's more sudden with a drawl. So 1974, started giving classes at Cliff Valleyway Unitarian Church. You may detect a pattern here. If you're wanting to start a center, it's a pretty good idea to go check out the Unitarian Church. They're the largest one in the Southeast. So I would be carrying Zafus in there in garbage bags every week, a couple of big garbage bags. And around 1977, we incorporated the Atlanta Soto Zen Center under the state of Georgia. And we've been operating pretty consistently ever since. We've had some ups and downs. We moved, I think, to Candler Park in the 1980s. We were there until 2000 when we moved to this center, and we had begun developing several disciples by then. Some of the early ones included Shinjin, Mike Goldman, Corolla Butler, who some of you know, some others who are since long gone. One's deceased that I know of. So we've been doing this a long time, and it's been worthwhile, I would say. It's been certainly worth the ticket. We had a couple of mutinies on the Bounty, one in 2000 when we were planning to move here. It was somewhat connected to the idea of growing or not growing and so forth. 2010, another one, we had a bailout of some people in the board of directors. So when we say those who come here are welcome, those who leave are not pursued, we didn't expect you to take whole groups of people with you when you go, right? So, but we just kept opening the doors and so forth, sweeping the floors and all that. And sure enough, people kept coming. So here we are. And I just wanted to say that being part of the network, which we set up in 2012, because we're recognizing that we have this, what had been a repeat pattern over 10 years, people on the board getting burned out and bailing out and so forth, that maybe we needed some outside help. Maybe we needed a larger organization. So we formed the Silent Thunder Order, which is a network of all the affiliates. The board of directors for the Silent Thunder Order are relatively mature, experienced people who are running, practice leaders and so forth, running their own centers. And they comprise the board of the Silent Thunder Order, which we see as kind of an advisory board or a backup to the local board of directors here at Atlanta. And here we have a little heavier burden than most of the affiliates in running the training center. And so hopefully this model of the umbrella organization and the affiliates having STO as backup to what you're trying to do locally will sustain us, for some time into the future. So we're trying to design a sort of a self-sustaining organization moving into the future, not a hierarchy, but a sort of a horizontal network of people with feet and boots on the ground and butts on the cushions. So one of the advantages, I think, of belonging to the Silent Thunder Order, one of the perks, maybe one of the only perks, is this, as you're beginning to see here, that we do have centers all over the country. So I am probably the only person who has visited most of our Zen centers, and some that are no longer part of our network, such as Oxford, Mississippi, Auburn, Alabama, Huntsville. But I've had the pleasure of going to Nova Scotia, up to Falmouth, on Cape Cod, going to down to the beaches of Florida. By the way, Shinjin grew up in Jacksonville, was raised there. So if you are a member of STO and we get back to the point where we can travel, I think you'll find yourself welcome, as practice leaders have indicated, you'll find yourself welcome at these various Zen centers. So you can kind of take a vacation, go somewhere where you don't have to pay for a hotel, and enjoy meeting other affiliates. And I think Shenzhen was planning to do that before the COVID hit, has become kind of our ambassador and travel around to all the centers. So we encourage you to do that. So now let me turn it over to Shinjin. He can give you some of the gory details or some of the highlights maybe of our history and our program that we offer here.
I got here in '96 and been here ever since. So
Can you give Shinjin the microphone, please?
Here we go.
okay, how's that? Is that better? Can you hear me?
Say something, please.
1 2 1 2
Still kind of faint.
1 2.
Much better. Yes.
That's better. Okay,
Yes.
Great. I got here in '96.
Well, now it seems to have gone off. No, not yet. I mean,
I think you have to use Sensei's mic.
How about now?
okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. Now everybody can hear me. Okay. Yeah, I got here in '96 when we were over at Candle Park. I met Hojo at a judo tournament, and after he'd given the invitation, I asked where I could find him again, and he gave me a flyer to Candle Park. And yeah, we were crammed into a little tiny room with rock walls. It was fun to sit facing the rock walls because if you stared at the walls long enough, you got to see patterns in the rock coalesce into the faces of every person you've ever disappointed. Um, but we moved here and experienced a lot of growth. This building has really become a home for us, even though most of the time it feels like it's falling apart around our ears. But one of the main things we've been able to do with this building that we couldn't do previously is have a full residency program. And so at any given time, we have had initiated monks, resident monks, include myself included, living here, and we've been able to provide space for prolonged on-goes. So that's been a real benefit of having this building. And I think staying in this location has got a lot of promise for us, because it seems like every year we get more interconnected with the other businesses and the other organizations up and down Zonalite. And now Nickel Creek, the park, is attracting a lot of people and has an organization, a governing organization of its own that we're starting to get involved with. And Andrew and I were talking before we got started this morning about different environmental / ecological programs that we could start getting involved with. Zen has a lot to say about that mode of thinking as well. But yeah, I don't foresee us leaving this building anytime soon. I think we'll probably all acquiesce right here. We have a great relationship with the landlady, and plus the way this building is laid out, I don't know what else anybody else could possibly use this place for. What's that? Yeah, we kind of have broken this building, so I think it's ours for good. Yeah. But programs that we have other than residency and on-goes, we are the main teaching center for the STO, and host most of the retreats here or at our watershed facility up in North Carolina, owned by Brian, and apparently a very beautiful place. I haven't been yet because whenever we have retreats, somebody's got to stay here and hold down the fort. But I will be up there this summer. And that's really all I can think of. We got a couple of pictures here, is Brian, Andrew, and myself. One of the programs that we've been doing for the last 2 years that I think has been going really well is the guest lecture series. We've been having people from inside and outside STO. April Fusatsu has done an amazing job of bringing people in to do those guest lectures. So anybody in STO, I encourage you to get in touch if you've got a subject that you want to cover.
That's Gyochi on the left. He runs our Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. So we have Just Sit Saturdays once a month. And the longer retreats that I mentioned, we're here every Sunday. We have the residents taking care of our morning sits. And also this photo on the right is our sewing program. So we have our initiates do their own sewing, and anyone going forward nation doing their own sewing. And this is a very rewarding yet extremely frustrating process. Carola and April are both expert level sewers. Everything I did looks like a chimpanzee did it. But we managed to get through it. And so, yeah, that's another process. And there's a whole bunch of us. How many people are on the mailing list now? 1,800?
Yeah, 1,800, almost 2,000.
Almost 2,000 people on our mailing list. I guess I would say we have probably more in the neighborhood of somewhere between 50 and 70 people that I would consider like active full-time members. And at any given time on a Sunday, there's before COVID, at any given time, there's somewhere between 10 and 20 people here. But that's kind of that's what brought us to this point. As we go forward, I'm really looking forward to more interaction with other affiliate groups. I'm looking forward to COVID becoming a thing of the past, even though in terms of human history, I do think we have entered the age of the pandemic. So I don't think this is the last one we're going to see, but next time we'll know how to deal with them. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting pre-COVID numbers back in the room and a closer relationship with the other affiliates as we go forward.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Shinjin and Hojo Sensei. It has been a pleasure having our affiliate groups come together. I'm sorry, I'm hearing myself. But again, as we take the opportunity to get to know each other, we thought it was very important for you to really see who at Silent Thunder Order is, to really put names with faces, also gather a list so you can actually have connect with our different affiliates to be able to have a coordinated practice opportunity and expand out and how we can support one another. I know we're a little bit over, but we will adjust that in our sitting practices. And again, let me thank each and every one of you, our affiliates, leaders, our practice leaders, for having the conversation, just being willing to support each other. That has been indeed the gift of COVID. Let me pause here. Any questions, comments? Again, just everyone, thank you so very much. And we'll make all the information related to the practice leaders, where they're located, and their contact information available post the retreat. So we'll create that as a part of the post-retreat information that we can provide to the participants. So again, gasho everyone.